Harry Maguire might be out of the game between Manchester United and Tottenham Hotspur in London tomorrow. I will tell you why. Reports coming through now suggest that he has not been seen as part of the players who traveled to London. Erik ten Hag is growing increasingly tired and frustrated and disgusted by the whole Harry Maguire situation. Like I told you, it is causing a mess on our summer transfer business. Erik ten Hag wants to get solutions. He will find them probably, but also if there is one solution we are yet to find, it is the solution to the Glazers. Guess what? The hashtag Glazers out is back trending again, and it is reported that these American billionaires are making a U-turn and they are saying they are staying. They do not want to sell. I don't want to dwell a lot on the takeover, but this is frustrating. But what is exciting is the fact that my voice sounds to be back. It seems my voice is back. Guys, thank you so much for being patient with me. And of course, thanks to the man above for ensuring that yeah, it's getting better, guys. Let's get proper into this Manchester United talk. I'll start with giving you some quick updates concerning our key players ahead of that game against Spurs. I focus more on the pitch, on the beautiful game. That man, the Alessandro Martinez, remember he was substituted after the first half. In that game, United won luckily against Wolves by 1-0. Well, he got a yellow card, but it was also reported that he had been injured in the ankle. But what turns out is that he was actually substituted not because he was injured, but because Erik ten Hag was trying to manage a situation. He clearly explained this in his pre-match press conference before tomorrow's game, saying that because Martinez and Luke Shaw were both on yellow cards early in the game, he had to he could not take a risk in the first game of the season to say a red card. And we all know, knowing how Lisandro Martinez is and his, temperament, he's certainly a one player who will always be a second away from the next yellow card. And probably he anticipated a possibility of a red card if Wolves kept coming at us the way they were. That's why he withdrew him for Victor Lindelof. So he's not sick. He had a small knock, but it is nothing to worry about. So Lisandro Martinez will be starting that game against Tottenham Hotspur. Good news, isn't it? But also, his partner, his preferred partner in that center back position, that is Rafael Varane, has been linked to a certain one, Al Hilal, is it in Saudi Arabia? But what we are getting now is that the players have come out quickly to tell him, Rafael Varane, please, you're earning 300k a week. Don't you even think about it. Forget it. Tell these Saudis, merci beaucoup. But no, I'm not coming. And he said, we, I agree. Yes, I'm not leaving. So Rafael Varane has said he's not moving a muscle away from Europe. He wants to stay in Europe and keep playing at the topmost level. It's not about the money. He will stay and struggle. Now, speaking of things being about money, for Harry Maguire, it is probably about money, and exactly that is why Manchester United did agree, terms with West Ham United, 30 million for him to join. But the player said no. Erik ten Hag, speaking about him in his pre-match press conference, tried to be polite in his speech about him. Again, as a coach, you've got to talk good about your players. At least if you're a sane coach, credit Erik ten Hag for that. But if you could read his face, his body language, he was so frustrated and disgusted with this whole situation. Like I told you, Maguire's stay has got a significant impact on our entire business for the next 2 weeks of the summer transfer window. It has got a huge impact. And Erik ten Hag made it clear that Maguire knows what he expects of him. If he can't do it, he has got to leave. But the player for now doesn't want to go. He confirmed that, of course, the West Ham deal fell through. So we are there. So what is happening now, the situation with Maguire, being stuck with Maguire has landed us in a tough situation where we've now got to we are discussing terms of a possible stay for John Evans until the end of the season. Evans is 35, and even at his prime, Evans was never one of our starting centre-backs. Now, imagine he's one of the guys now Erik ten Hag is looking at as a cheap option because there is no money. Scott McTominay, nothing is happening. West Ham's bid was rejected. There seems to be no progress. At least Fabrizio Romano confirmed this. When it comes to Donny van de Beek as well, the talks with Real Sociedad are taking forever. So again, there is no money, and that's why we are yet to bid for Sofiane Amrabat as well. Whereas we've agreed personal terms with the player, he's still waiting and he's there. So it's becoming increasingly frustrating for Ten Hag because it's slowing down the progress he's trying to achieve. Clearly, the errors, the issues we saw in that game against Wolves were little. Clearly, Amrabat is the solution. Amrabat comes into that team, and trust me, there is proper balance. Casemiro is less exposed. He has got less work to do, less distance to cover. He's a proper pivot in the squad, but of course with support. So Ten Hag knows that he has got one or two more pieces to sort for the team to look fairly complete. But there is no money. What to do? So that's where we are. It's a tricky situation. So that's where we are. But the good news as well is United has signed another striker. But this is for the ladies team, guys. A Brazilian hot property. But she is on the ladies team, so I won't dwell so much on her. But we are happy that we are getting this 25-year-old hot Brazilian striker to come and boost our women's team. But I'll stick to the men's team more, because this is where the bigger headache is. So speaking of the men's team, I told you 5 days ago now that I announced it to you, I broke it to you that Mason Greenwood is back in the Man United squad, that it was allowed and accepted. They are now doing formalities to reinstating him. It is one thing for someone to be reinstated, it's another thing for someone to be back. He's back in the squad, but being back in the squad meaning he's being included. He's now officially, it's accepted that he's in the team, because before he had been dropped from the squad. He is now officially back in the squad, and that's what I broke for you. And people are here shouting, "What fake news? You give fake news, guys, man! Put some respect to me. I'm a journalist, and I'm also a Man United supporter. I don't give stories out of excitement. I want to emphasize that clearly. I don't give you stories out of excitement, but." Yeah, so the formalities are being done, and of course, like you'd expect, the backlash was always going to be there when the proper reinstating comes to happen. The backlash was always going to be expected, and that is where we are. So what's happening is that apparently sections of the staff, according to reports from The Athletic and a few other sources, that certain staff are threatening to resign, some to even strike if Greenwood is brought back into the team. Remember, the top bosses, both for football and in terms of the general institution, the club, Richard Arnold, the CEO, and the boss Eric Ten Hag, both do want this player back. They want him back in the squad. We know the issues we've got are with players. We don't have money to buy players, and you let go of a free player because of your personal sentiments. Someone who is back with the same victim you say beat and what is free. It doesn't make sense, guys. It doesn't. You can try to be for women, and you can try to say those of us who are for the return of Greenwood don't like women, and I think the problem will be on you. I think none of us encourages beating up on women or fighting or violence in any way. No one does. But I don't think Ten Hag does. No one does. But we accept that people make mistakes, and if someone is free until proven guilty. So, and for this case, the person is together with the same victim. Guys, I don't even want to dwell so much on this. So these sections of people, they will always be there. I mean, they will always be there. People who are trying to prove to be the biggest feminists of all feminists, who seem to be so holy. I mean, even the holy books talk about those who are without sin being the first to come and cast a stone. I don't know who is without sin here, guys. If you can't forgive a 21-year-old kid who made a mistake, that is not even official. Even the girlfriend, the victim herself, forgave him. I think the issue is with you, not with us who want him back, or with himself or the girlfriend. The issue is with you. It's you're too bitter, and you don't deserve to be a part of us. I mean, this world is not a place for bitter people. You should be forgiving. And also, for a first-time offender, even the girlfriend and her family forgave him. Who are you not to? Guys, spare us. I mean, come on, let's move on. Greenwood is back in the squad. Wait for that official confirmation. Let the strike happen. Let those staff who don't want to come happen. You can boycott United games if you want to, but Greenwood deserves to be reinstated back in the squad. I've said it not because I condone beating up on women, but because I am for second chances, I'm for forgiveness, but also I use logic. If the law of the land says the boy is free, if the same girlfriend who had reported him says they are back together, they are getting married, they have their first child, if the girl's family are seen in pictures all happy and all, then you're not telling me nothing, guys. You're not telling me nothing. Let me move on now, away from that. So, guys, away from that, I think I've also got to give you an update on the takeover situation, because, guys, the biggest trending hashtag on Twitter right now is still, I think, Greenwood and the Glazers out. It's back. Why? Because there have been talks that apparently the Glazers are pulling out of their own announcement that they are saying they are not selling. They want to stay because they see the club is progressing and they don't see someone who is meeting their evaluation of the club. They have not given feedback to Sheikh Jassim. We are back, I think, to where we are. But perhaps this is news building us to try again resurrect our anticipation and interest. But what I know really for a fact is that we should be expecting an announcement after next week when this Greenwood thing is sorted and officially the players reinstated back. By the way, Greenwood is training, not with the squad, but he's training, with Manchester United coaches. He has been for the longest time because he's still a Manchester United player. He's contracted. So, anyway, what we expect is that after his issue is sorted, it is expected that we shall have an official announcement on the takeover. And most probably, it will be good news, but I don't want to go so much into it. I would prefer to focus more on the football. I don't want to disorganize my mental health. I mean, I've suffered enough with my voice and what. And so, guys, let's just pause the takeover for a bit and focus on beating Spurs. We struggled against Wolves. We do want to look better against Spurs. I do wonder how Erik ten Hag is going to get the balance in that midfield, because yes, we might think Wolves played us, but Spurs had some moments of a good game in their first game, and you think they might actually out-expose us in that game. They certainly watched the videos against Wolves and they saw the loopholes which they could exploit. So I want to see how Erik ten Hag is going to strike that balance, but playing with only Casemiro. I would guess and think perhaps this time he might want to try to bring back back Bruno Fernandes to play alongside Casemiro and restrict him and maybe put Mason Mount as a number 10, because Mount was on several occasions caught going forward a lot, but also had moments where he would track back and try and cover ground, but at times again, you can't do it for the entire game. You get tired, you run out of gas. So it's going to be a tricky game given the circumstances we are in. I don't want to see Scott McTominay starting. I hope he doesn't, because whereas we need a support for Casemiro, I don't think we need to start thinking of Scott McTominay as an option. And remember, McTominay is one of the players we want out, but again, West Ham, whose bid was rejected by United, don't seem to be progressing. So there is no progress in terms of selling Scott McTominay. Neither is there progress on Donny van de Beek. The talks with Real Sociedad are taking forever. Harry Maguire, like I said, he's out of the squad now, but he's still a United player. I think now Ten Hag is looking to frustrate him, but at this point, it feels like Maguire is not about to be moved by anything that they do to him. And all this is affecting our signing of Sofian Amrabat. Liverpool are there looking, hovering around like vultures, waiting for an opportunity to pounce. I hope he refuses them. I hope he's patient, but if he runs out of patience, to be honest, I would credit him for being patient. I wouldn't blame him. Would you? You can't blame Amrabat if he ran out of patience and decided to join Liverpool, perhaps against his own natural will. So it's a tight situation, guys, we are in. But that's where we are. Amrabat, Gravenberch is another player we've been interested in. That's the Bayern Munich player I told you about. Then, of course, Benjamin Pavard. And the move for Benjamin Pavard is seeming to be again silent as well. Then I spoke about Johnny Evans. I told you about Johnny Evans and how Manchester United are now looking at Evans as another option. If Harry Maguire is staying around, they are looking at a player who even at his best was not a starter in Manchester United to come in and replace him at 35, and they keep him on the bench and keep him around for the rest of the season on a short-term contract. Guys, it's a difficult situation we are in, by the way, but in Ten Hag we trust. Let's wait and see what will happen. Hotspot, subscribe. My name is Webb. My voice is back. Catch you later, guys.